Hello students, let us start the next part of the chapter, the nationalist movement in Indo-China. Here first let's start with the red color, the color of Communist Party. Our first topic is the communist movement and nationalism in Vietnam. After the First World War, the world faced the Great Depression. It had a profound impact on Vietnam also, as the prices fell of rubber and rice, the main commodity of economy of Vietnam, and obviously it lead to rising rural debts, unemployment, and rural uprising. Because of prices increasing, we see rural debt, unemployment, and obviously the rural uprising because of this. And especially these types of problems were faced in the two main provinces of Vietnam, that is the Gay An and the Hathin. These provinces were amongst the poorest and also called the electrical fuse of Vietnam. Now the next thing is that in the February 1930, Ho Chi Minh brought together competing a nationalist group to establish the Vietnam Communist Party, also known as the Cong San Dang Party. And this is how we see the establishment of Vietnamese Communist Party in the year 1930 by Ho Chi Minh. Obviously, now the Second World War started in the world, and as you can see here in this map, this is Japan, red colored Japan, and its main ambition is to capture the whole Pacific and Asian region. And this is how, as we see the colored, how Japan one by one took over the part of the different region, and this is how it also comes here in the Vietnamese part also and occupied the Vietnam also. And it was happened in 1940. Japan occupied Vietnam. Obviously, because of this, as you can see here in this picture also, we see the formation of Viet Minh. Viet Minh is the army, as you can see here. It is formed to fight against the Japanese during the Second World War. And this is how this army, or we can say Viet Minh, recaptured Hanoi in 1945, and this is how they established Democratic Republic of Viet Minh. And obviously Ho Chi Minh became the chairman of Democratic Republic of Viet Minh. The new Republic of Vietnam. As the Vietnam emerged as a new republic after the Second World War, when Japan was defeated by America. So this is how now Vietnamese got the power of Vietnam on their own hand, as we discuss here also that the Democratic Republic of Vietnam was formed and Ho Chi Minh became the head of that. Now this new republic faced a lot of challenges to restore its hold over Indochina. Obviously, again, French tried to regain control over Vietnam by using the emperor. His name was Bao Dai, and this is how they tried to use Baodai as puppet, and this is how they can control again on Vietnam. Now as we know that now the war had taken a new turn because it become a part of Cold War. Cold War means it become a part of the war between USA and USSR. After the Second World War, they both become the major power of the world, and they divide world into two parts: the capitalist world, that is the USA bloc, the communist world, that is the USSR bloc. And they both tried to establish communist and capitalist government in Vietnam also, and that is the reason that USSR and China support Ho Chi Minh, a communist leader who established Communist Party of Vietnam. On other hand, Britain and USA support France so that capitalism or democracy would be established in Vietnam. Till 1954, in 1954, till 1954, Vietnam means the army of Vietnam surrounded 16,000 French troops and inflicted upon them a crushing defeat. As you can see here in this picture also, the French commander in Indo-China, General Henry Navarre. Navarre wanted to attack the Vietnam even in their remote bases also. As the consequence, the French opened many fronts of attack in Vietnam and scattered their forces in the whole Indo-China area. Navarre's plan backfired the northeastern valley of Dien Bien Phu. Obviously, after getting defeat from Vietnam, this situation forced French government to initiate negotiation with the government of Vietnam or the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. And this is how, as you can see here in this picture also, we see that in July 1954, that was on 21st July 1954, Geneva Agreement. This Geneva Agreement decided to divide Vietnam into two parts. As you can see here, from here they divide it into two parts. The upper part, this part, become a communist part. On other hand, this southern part, it become a capitalist or the democratic Vietnam. But this was temporarily done by the Geneva Agreement on 21st July 1951. They divide Vietnam temporarily, as I said, into two parts: north communist and the southern capitalist part. And obviously, then Ho Chi Minh, he took the power of the northern communist Vietnam. On other hand, we see the Bao Dai's regimes that was put in power in the South Vietnam, and later on it was overthrown by a coup led by Go Dinh Diem. So this is how we see the decision of Vietnam was taken in an agreement at Geneva. Now let's come to the re-entry of the USA in the war. In this war of Vietnam, we see the involvement of USA. The Vietnamese had to fight a long struggle. First, they fight, as we see with the Chinese Empire. Then comes French. They fight with French, and then during the Second World War with the Japanese, and lastly with USA when USA involved in the war. There were some of the causes of the involvement of US in the war, as we see, first is the spread of the communism. US regarded the spread of the communism a great danger to the capitalist countries, and that is why America was ready to fight against communism in any part of the world. And when he see that the communism showed its heads in Vietnam also, as we see in the upper part of the Vietnam, northern part of the Vietnam, America at once come forward to check it also here in Vietnam. And the second cause behind it is to support one of the major country of American bloc or capitalist bloc, that is France. France faced a humiliating defeat in Vietnam. Being the champion of the capitalist country, USA obviously want to crush Vietnam at all cost to save the prestige of the capitalist country. And here it is, especially here it is France, which was an ally of the USA in the Second World War and also a part of NATO. America was against the unification of Vietnam, as we see that the Geneva Conference had divided Vietnam into two parts, that is the North Vietnam and South Vietnam, but temporarily. The Liberation Front in South Vietnam tried to unify two parts in violation of the Geneva Conference. The US could not tolerate this, and obviously America decided to intervene in the Vietnam. Within no time, America sent a large number of, as you can see here in this picture also, America sent a large number of soldiers with latest war equipments of that period. In this war dragged on for many years, that is especially from 1965 to 72. The brutalities committed by Vietnam in USA, sorry, the brutalities committed in Vietnam by America, who itself is becoming a leader or saying that he is a leader of democracy and its work is to spread democracy in whole world. And America is a country who gives shadow to all democratic countries and also gives security and safeguard to human rights. But unfortunately, we see in this Vietnam War a lot of brutalities committed by America, as you can see here in this picture, that how the Hanoi city was bombed by American B-52 fighter planes in the year 1972. Use of B-52 bombers, they become very popular during this period. The widespread attack and the use of chemical weapons also we see. And this is how it destroyed many villages, cities, and even a lot of civilians were died in this war. And that is why we see a lot of criticism of America for this war. The effect of USA involvement on life within the USA also we see. Obviously, because of this war, we see what huge loss of men and money. 75,000, it's too much. 75,000 soldiers died during this war. As you can see here, the names of all these 75 soldiers were written here, and people came here to pay their tribute to their relatives and close ones. So this is how the aggressions naturally comes from the sides of the people. In America itself also, it evoked a strong reactions in America. Various countries of the world also strongly criticized America's intervention in the internal affairs of Vietnam, as you can see here, that how peoples are protesting in America itself, get the hell out of Vietnam. And here you can see in front of the White House, the Americas are protesting for this interventions of their country in Vietnam. And that is why later on 30th April 1975, United Vietnam came into exist after the withdrawal of the American troops in April 1975. And this is how we see that the war ended in Vietnam. We will continue the chapter in our next part also. Well, in this part, any kind of problem you face, please send your comments to me, or you can visit to my blog also, which is vipindogra.blogspot.in, or whatever you want extra. You can tell us. Our team try to help you as much as we can in other subjects also of any class. Visit edunetworking.com also for that. Thank you.